Hello and welcome. In the previous video, we implemented the edit assignment.jsp. We created an MVC render command so that we're able to render that specific JSP. Now what we want to do is implement an MVC action command so that we're able to add an assignment, and depending on time, we'll also implement the editing of an existing assignment. So let's go ahead and get started up one more time. So we're going to clear house like I always typically like to do, and we're going to create a new MVC action command to create a brand new assignment. So right-clicking the package that contains all of our MVC commands, heading over to new, followed by class. The name of the class will be add assignment MVC action command. Once you have that typed out, go ahead and click finish. Once you've clicked finish, let's head back over to our materials. And within our materials, we'll go ahead and copy our next portion of code. So we'll highlight everything, we'll get rid of it, and then replace it. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the code. So the two places I always like to look at first is the component and then any references that we are bringing in. So here within the component annotation, right, what are our properties? Which portlet are we listening to? And from that portlet, what parameter are we listening for? One that I need to highlight a little bit more often is the type of service as well. So we're listening to the gradebook portlet for this specific MVC command name, add assignment, and then the type of service that this component is an MVC action command. So these are the three aspects that this specific component is looking for. It's looking for an action coming from the gradebook portlet, passing this specific parameter add assignment. So we can trace that back over to the edit assignment.jsp, right? In the previous video, we looked at this action URL, and this one specifically on line number 14, when we were creating a brand new assignment, we'll pass over this add assignment. So once that's been picked up, this do process action method will be called. Right. The main portion of the code comes from, first off, this reference that we're grabbing. So we're grabbing the assignment service or a reference of it, creating what I like to call an API object right here. From there, we're going to try and call the add assignment method from the assignment service, right? Grabbing all of the parameters that are coming from the action request and then passing them into the method. So it'll create an assignment based off of those parameters. The send redirect will redirect us to a specific URL. That URL will be contained within the redirect parameter over in the action URL. So this one right here, right? If anything goes wrong, we can print a stack trace using the action response. We can then set a number of parameters so that it sends us back to the edit assignment.jsp. So go ahead and save if you haven't done so already. And let's go ahead and implement the edit assignment MVC action command. So we have the action command to create a brand new assignment. We also need one to edit an existing assignment. So we've taken care of this action URL here on line number 14 of my edit assignment.jsp. So we now need to take care of this line number 7 for the other action URL. So let's go ahead and take care of that. We'll right-click the package once again that contains all of our MVC commands and create a new class. From the materials, it wants us to name it edit assignment MVC action command. Once you have that all typed out, go ahead and click finish. Let's head back over to our materials. And then we'll copy our next snippet here. Right, once we have that copied, we'll go ahead and paste it. And we'll take a look. So looking at the component one more time, again, what type of component is this? It's going to be an MVC action command. We're listening to the gradebook portlet for this specific command name, edit assignment. we already saw, but let's take a look one more time. So back over in the edit assignment.jsp, using this logic that we discussed in the previous video, when an assignment is not empty, so we're going to take an existing assignment and edit it. So we're going to be calling this specific action URL, passing this specific name, edit assignment, and we've just created the MVC action command to listen for that MVC command name. So once these three parameters, an action URL coming from the gradebook portlet, passing this command name, once those three parameters have been met, we'll call the doProcessAction method. Right, we're going to grab a number of parameters from that action request object, specifically the assignment ID number, the title, and we're also going to grab the date as well. With those parameters on hand, we'll call the assignment service. We grabbed a reference of that down here at the bottom. We'll call the assignment services update assignment method. So passing those parameters into the method, thus updating the assignment based off of the new values. So if anything goes wrong, we can print a stack trace. We know after the action phase, the render phase follows. So we take that opportunity to set a number of parameters within the render phase that's about to be called, and thus invoking a MVC render command to render the edit assignment.jsp. If you haven't saved, go ahead and save, and we have one more action command that we want to implement. This is going to be the delete assignment. Going through our basic CRUD operations, we now need to be able to delete. So let's go ahead and right click the package that contains all of our MVC commands. We're going to create a new class just like last time. The name of the class will be delete assignment MVC action command. Once you have that name, go ahead and click finish. And let's head over to our materials and we'll grab our last snippet here. So go ahead and highlight everything. You can get rid of it and then we'll replace it with the snippet. This chunk of code is not too bad. Again, just hammering away, reiterating the ideas here of MVC commands, right? So the MVC command is implemented as a component, right? What type of component? So an MVC action command, listening for action URLs, coming from which portlet? It's going to be the gradebook portlet. What's the command name? MVC command names.delete assignment. So once those three things have been met, right, then the doProcessAction is going to be called. So let's trace this one more time. So this is going to be coming from another JSP. Remember a couple videos ago, we implemented this entry actions.jsp. This is going to be the options button. When you click on that options button, right, it'll show a number of icons that we can click on, one of them being a delete icon. When we click on that delete icon, it's going to invoke this action URL, passing the name delete assignment. So we're creating this MVC action command so that we can catch that delete assignment parameter coming from the action URL. Once that's been caught, call the doProcessAction method, right? We get the assignment ID from that action request object, and then we call the service to delete the assignment. Anything goes wrong, we can print a stack trace. Again, in practice, we would probably print something more meaningful, but here for training's sake, we're going to keep it simple. So if you haven't saved, go ahead and save. And the last thing we're going to do is test this out. So go ahead and head over to your instance of Liferay. I like to refresh the page just in case. Right? We don't want anything that hasn't been loaded to load. So we can give this a title. I'll call this assignment number, let's think of a number, 518. Here's a description. I'm drawing a blank as to what to actually call these things. Let's give myself a further due date, and then for the time, let's say 9 p.m. And we'll go ahead and save. So it looks like I can create an assignment. So far, so good. We have the options button that lines up. When we click on it, we see those three options show up for us. Let's see if we're able to edit it. Let's just make a small edit. Very good. We can edit as well. And then finally, let's take a look and see if I can delete this. And I'll go ahead and delete, and it looks good. So very good. So we're able to implement all of our CRUD operations. We see the various JSPs load along the way. So very good. This wraps it up for this portion of the exercise, and as well as this video, and I'll see you in the next video.